Isn't it something how the whole idea of creativity feels like it's shifting these days?
It really is, especially with all the buzz around AI.
Exactly. AI writing poems, scripts, even code, it kind of makes you stop and, ask yourself, what is creativity, really? Where does that spark actually come from?
Hmm.
What's your feeling on it? It's this fascinating area you're jumping into today in our deep dive on creative text.
Yeah, and what's great about the sources we're looking at is just how, well, different the perspectives are. They all touch on this core question.
Right.
We're not just talking code here. We're
Mhm.
digging into like human experience, the mind, even how outside stuff shapes what we create.
So the mission isn't easy answers.
Definitely not. Those are hard to find anyway. But the idea is to pull out some really interesting insights about creativity, especially now with technology racing ahead, but without getting lost in all the technical jargon.
Perfect. Think of it as a shortcut, folks, to some big ideas about creativity. We'll look at what we even mean by it for humans and maybe, just maybe, for AI.
And how our own mindset, our practices, affects things.
Yeah, how that internal stuff plays out. We might even find some links to, like, values and well-being, surprising connections, maybe.
Hopefully. The goal is really a thoughtful and I think kind of hopeful look at where things are heading.
Okay, let's do it. Let's dive in.
So defining creativity, instinctively you
Be
think,
a human.
right? Deeply human.
Totally. Our feelings, our unique histories, just feeling things, joy, sadness, all of it seems essential.
Absolutely. That connection seems core to what we think of as, genuinely creative.
Yeah, like I was thinking about Paul D in Beloved, remember that? Just saying, red heart, red heart.
Hmm.
It's so raw, like basic almost,
Yeah.
but just packed with this feeling, painful feeling.
The repetition, yeah. It hits hard because it feels lived.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, could an AI, even a really smart one, generate that from a place of real felt experience?
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Mm.
Can AI have subjective experience? That personal history that feeds our creativity.
It can mimic it, maybe, write text like it feels something.
It can definitely process styles, tones, yeah. But that inner life, that's the big unknown, the big debate.
Okay, now let's switch gears a bit. There's this idea from prosperity consciousness about the purpose of creative substance being just expansion and growth.
Right. Interesting concept.
So when you see AI getting better, doing more complex stuff, could you see that as just another form of this cosmic expansion?
That's a really fascinating way to frame it. It sort of broadens the definition, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Like creativity isn't just human.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe our creativity is one way it happens, and AI is another facet of that same universal drive. It doesn't have to lessen human creativity, just puts it in a bigger context.
Mm-hmm. And just a reminder, we're keeping this conceptual, right? Not getting tangled in the nuts and bolts of AI.
Exactly. Focus on the what and why, not the deep how.
Okay, good. So moving on. Our own minds, our mental state. Seems obvious it impacts what we create, yeah.
Oh, hugely. If your mind's a whirlwind or you're just stressed out, it's tough to find that creative groove.
Definitely been there.
Right. And the sources actually offer some cool ways to sort of cultivate a better inner space for creativity. Meditation comes up.
Like transcendental meditation, I think that was mentioned.
Yeah, TM, which is quite structured, good if you like that clear approach. And then there's loving kindness meditation.
Ah, okay. What's the angle there for creativity?
Well, it's linked to boosting empathy, positivity,
Yeah.
and those qualities. They can really add depth to creative work, couldn't they?
That makes a lot of sense. More empathy means a wider range of human stuff to draw on.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It expands your palette, so
Yeah.
to speak. Loving kindness is like practice for widening that empathetic range.
Okay. And then there's this idea of mindful awareness, just watching your thoughts without judging them. How does that help unlock creativity?
The idea is by just observing thoughts, letting them come and go, you create space, mental space.
Yeah,
You're less
awesome.
caught up in rigid thinking or that harsh inner critic. You know the one.
Oh, yeah. Mine's loud sometimes.
Yeah. So this non-judgmental noticing, it allows for a more fluid, open state where maybe unexpected ideas can just pop up.
Have you ever noticed that? Your best ideas hitting you when you're not trying.
Oh, all the time. Shower thoughts, right? Or doing the dishes.
Totally. And then Zen. This idea of forgetting everything for perfect composure sounds intense. How does that help with creative blocks?
It's not literal amnesia, obviously. It's more about letting go.
Letting go of what?
Preconceptions,
Okay.
expectations, That pressure you put on yourself to make something good, when you forget, you're creating a kind of mental blank slate.
Ah, okay. Free from old habits or doubts.
Exactly. It can be super liberating, lets you see things fresh, like a musician finding the silence before the first note.
Yeah,
That silence isn't empty, right? It's full of possibility.
I like that. Decluttering the mental workshop.
Yeah. And then, even more abstractly, there's this idea of abiding in the unborn, a state beyond creation itself.
Whoa, okay. That sounds pretty out there. How do we connect that to, like, writing a blog post?
Metaphorically, think of the unborn as pure potential before ideas become solid things.
Okay.
Maybe by tapping into that state through deep, quiet meditation, whatever, we find truly new inspiration, ideas that haven't been born yet into our regular thinking.
So originality might come from a place beyond our usual logical thought process.
That's the suggestion. Fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Accessing something deeper, more fundamental.
It really is. Okay, so we've looked inside. What about the outside world? How do external things help or hurt creativity?
Big time. The Disney example is pretty telling.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Well, the idea that when they were so focused on building the theme parks, the movies maybe, suffered a bit creatively.
Ah.
And this constant question, what would Walt have done? It suggests looking backwards, relying on old formulas, instead of finding genuinely new stuff.
Right. The pressure to repeat success can block innovation, like using an old map when the land has changed.
Exactly, which is such a contrast to the idea of play being vital.
Play, how does that fit?
Play is about exploring, messing around, no rigid goals,
Mm-hmm.
just joyfully engaging.
Okay.
And it's often in that state, that lack of pressure, that we stumble onto cool connections or insights. Play opens you up to receiving inspiration. It's about flow, not force.
Yeah, that rings true. When you're actually having fun, not stressing, ideas seem to just show up.
Mm-hmm. But then you have the opposite extreme,
Mm-hmm.
like the 2 Minutes Hate in 1984.
Yeah. Stark example.
How does that kind of intense external pressure hit creativity?
Crushes it, surely.
Completely. It hijacks individual thought. You get forced conformity, this outpouring of prescribed emotion, not genuine expression.
Kills any independent thought.
Totally. It's a powerful reminder of how much freedom and autonomy matter for real creativity.
Yeah.
The whole social or political climate can nurture it or just stamp it out.
Chilling and super important. Okay, and then Machiavelli. His focus on results, effectiveness, sometimes maybe ignoring the fuzzy stuff.
Yeah, the pragmatic approach. Get
Yeah.
the job done, achieve the goal.
How might that affect I don't know, the heart of creative work? Thinking back to that raw feeling in Beloved.
Well, Machiavelli's focus is on effectiveness, which is powerful, obviously.
Yeah.
But the risk is neglecting the ethical side, the emotional depth that gives work resonance,
So you might get something technically good, but soulless.
potentially.
Hmm.
If it lacks that connection to human experience or values beyond just efficiency, makes you ask, right? Can truly great creative work ignore ethics or values beyond just ticking the boxes?
It's a really good question to ponder, definitely. Okay, shifting slightly. A core idea for today. Small acts, real power. How does that tie into creativity?
It's about consistency, really.
Yeah.
The idea that small, regular shifts in mindset or practice add up. They have a real impact over time.
So not waiting for the lightning bolt of inspiration.
Exactly. It's about cultivating the ground day by day with manageable actions, things you can actually do.
Like 5 minutes of free writing? Or just a mindful breathing break?
Perfect examples. It's the steady effort, not necessarily one giant push. Consistency over intensity.
I like that. And you could even link that to Buddhist ideas, maybe? Like letting go of desire?
Yeah, absolutely. Letting go of needing a perfect result or controlling everything,
Yeah.
that frees up energy.
Okay. It lets things happen more naturally.
Exactly. Trusting the process a bit more.
So bringing it all together, AI again, but maybe more optimistically. Could it be less of a threat, more of a catalyst?
That's a really vital question now, I think.
Mm.
And yeah, maybe hopeful. Could AI handle the grunt work, the repetitive stuff?
Freeing up humans for the human stuff.
Right. The emotional depth, the weird connections, exploring complex themes that AI, well, probably can't grasp in the same way.
So it becomes a tool, augmenting us, not replacing us.
That's the hope, like a new paintbrush, a new instrument, something that helps us express things in ways we haven't even thought of.
That's a nice way to think about it.
And ultimately, maybe this whole exploration shows that creativity isn't some magical gift for a chosen few. It's in all of us. And by exploring our minds, using these small practices, looking at different angles,
Mm-hmm.
we can unlock more of that potential that's already there.
So, quick recap then. We've seen creativity as maybe deeply personal feeling, or maybe this broader drive for growth.
Uh-huh. And how mindset and simple, consistent practices like meditation really matter for creative flow.
Right. And how outside pressures can hurt, but maybe with the right perspective, even play or new tools could boost it.
Which leads to a final thought to chew on for everyone listening.
Okay.
In this world getting fuller and fuller of AI-generated stuff,
Mm.
what makes human creativity special? What elevates it?
What are those unique qualities?
Yeah. And maybe more personally, what small thing, what tiny act will you do today to nurture your own creative spark?
That's a great takeaway. This deep dive, it really is just scratching the surface, isn't it?
For sure. It's a huge ongoing conversation.
So we hope you'll keep thinking about these ideas, maybe try out some of the practices, keep exploring this whole fascinating mix of creativity, mind, and technology.
Definitely. Keep exploring.
Thanks so much for joining us today.